This is Jim Williams with the Hurricane City Tropical Update for September 26th, 2 p.m. Here's the graphical tropical weather outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We have 3 systems on the map, but only one to be concerned about. Here is Matthew. The system has dissipated just west of Guatemala. The National Hurricane Center stopped writing advisories on this. And here's Tropical Depression Lisa out here. This is just about to become a remnant low, and they will stop writing advisories on this probably this evening. So all eyes now are on the western Caribbean Sea. We have a broad area of low pressure that's extending all through Central America, Honduras, even down into the Pacific, and all covering the western Caribbean Sea. 10% chance of development right now, but that should probably go up tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see an invest on this tomorrow. So there is a broad area. Pressures are very low down in here, and there is some banding looking features out here with another area of convection that was east of Matthew. I know in the last few updates I mentioned the fact that the models are indicating Matthew is going to back on up or potentially move back into the Caribbean Sea, but Matthew has continued so far to the west that that's unlikely, and a new broader area low pressure will take over out here. So this will more than likely be named Nicole if it gets going here over the next couple of days. Well, first of all, let's look at the remnants of Matthew. Here it is, the little red circle bouncing around here. This is the official forecast from the Hurricane Center. It's just going to dissipate and meander on down here in Mexico. It's been dumping a lot of rain over Guatemala, over in here, and over even further east in Honduras. There's been about 6 to 10 inches of rain. But the good news is I've been checking our current feature is Honduras at Hurricane City, and I've been checking the news and information out of the area, clicking on the news link in the drop down in the menu on the left hand side of the page for Honduras. And an interesting feature in IE8, for those of you that may not be aware of it, if you copy the text on these foreign websites and right mouse click and choose translate using a translator, you can see it in English to figure out what's happening down in the affected area. So far, so good. No fatalities. There has been some flooding and mudslides. You can see pictures on these websites of the damage down there. But this is no Mitch by any stretch of the imagination. Had this been a much stronger system and lingered down there a little longer, it could have been a catastrophic situation. But luckily, it's kept on moving and got through there, and now it's just lingering and should wash out over Mexico. All right, let's take a look at some more images here. Here are the models on Matthew left over from this morning. And again, the UK Met wants to linger it down here and have it go into the Caribbean Sea and generally towards Florida over the next several days. The BAM models, I mentioned this yesterday, take this low pressure area and bring it back into the Caribbean Sea. So that still is a possibility. In fact, the indications from the long-range global models indicate that there's not just going to be one area of low pressure moving potentially over Florida, but another one that's going to develop behind that. So there's a lot of low pressure areas down here to keep an eye on, and Matthew could end up being one of them in the long run. Here is the tropical cyclone formation probabilities, and we can see that there's a pretty good chance here now. This is increasing up to about 2 to 3% chance, and we'll see this increase here tomorrow as the main area concerned, just north of Honduras. Now tomorrow, the hurricane hunters are going to be out there, so they're indicating this is going to be a serious situation to keep track of. Not only are they sending the Air Force out there tomorrow to investigate this system, they're going to be out near 18 and 85, which is just north of Honduras. They're also sending the high-altitude aircraft out there as well tomorrow evening. So they're indicating they're taking this very seriously, and they're going to have full 6-hour rotations on this system if it goes ahead and develops. So the National Hurricane Center feels like this is going to be a threat, and they need to really keep an eye on this really closely. So they got the full court press with the aircraft going on Monday and Tuesday and right on through the week as this goes ahead and develops. Okay, here's the heat potential map. I mentioned this the last few updates. Again, 78 degrees or higher, temperatures below the surface of the ocean, hundreds of feet down. So even a slow-moving system with upwelling, which would normally bring colder water up to the surface, this has warm water below the surface, so it won't really matter that much. This has plenty of fuel for development. The only thing that could hinder development in the long run are upper-level southwesterly winds. I'll get to that in a minute. Here is the climatological averages of wind shear in the western Caribbean Sea at this time of the year, and the black line here indicates that we should averaging around 20 knots a shear, but right now we're down here less than 10 knots a shear, right around 8 knots, and that is really favorable for development down there. So right now it is ripe for development. We have a lot of low pressure down there, a lot of convection. There's banding in the clouds and a little bit of a high pressure trying to build in the western Caribbean Sea, so this should go ahead and develop over the coming days. Alright, let's take a look at a water vapor loop. This is the color enhanced version, and here is the remnants of Matthew over here in Mexico, right here, and the center is down in here, but all the convection is blown off to the west. And now we have new banding features out here. There's looks like rotation, but the lowest pressure we can find is down in Honduras and El Salvador down here. So whatever is down here has to get a little bit further north before we'll see development. So who knows, maybe they may cancel that recon flight for tomorrow if this doesn't get better organized overnight. We'll have to see about that, but whatever's going to develop, again, the hurricane hunters are going to be right in this location right here, and that's their main focus tomorrow, is just north of Honduras, as this should go ahead and develop. It's got favorable upper level environment, but notice what's coming down on this. We have a trough of low pressure up here in the southeast, and there's another area of low pressure that's going to reinforce this and cause a flow out of the southwest like this. And now at times, sometimes these tropical systems can get caught up in the flow and they don't disrupt them that much, even though there might be about 20 to 30 knots of wind shear, but the models are indicating that there's going to be a strong system up in here, but it may be sheared a little bit by southwesterly wind shear due to the trough that's going to come and sweep this thing and kick it on up off the eastern seaboard. But the GFS model and the Canadian model indicate it's going to be somewhere in this ballpark here around October 2nd. And it could very well be a hurricane at that point. So people in South Florida and the entire Florida Peninsula really need to watch this closely. It's looking unlikely that it would be west of this line over here because of the trough kicking through. So all residents anywhere over here in the southeast need to pay close attention to this, as this could ramp up, and it could be a very large system, because if you look at the rotation down here, it's a very large circulation. So this could affect a lot of people and just about everybody in the state of Florida as it passes through. It just depends on what variation, how strong this is going to get. We don't know that at this time. Well, that's it for now. Just wanted to give you a quick update here on Sunday of what's happening down in the Caribbean. We'll watch for the recons tomorrow. That's it for now. Keep track of what's happening in the aftermath of Matthew down in the Central America using the Honduras link at Hurricane City, and get all the latest at hurricanecity.com. That's it for now. Thank you again for visiting Hurricane.